Hello everyone and welcome to the Tempo Strategy Legends of Runeterra Meta Snapshot Report. Call of the Mountain has arrived, and the meta has already begun to shape up. The release of Targon had paved the way for multiple new archetypes, many of which are showing potential in this new world. On top of the addition of an entire new region, Shadow Isles, Ionia, and Freljord got quite a few new cards, giving the regions new strategies moving forward. Piltover and Zaun, Noxus, Bilgewater, and Demacia, on the other hand, only got 2 cards each, leaving them little room for extensive innovation. This most recent patch has made waves in the metagame, leaving plenty of room for new strategies to make their debut. Before we get into the video, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to stay up to date with more Tempo Strategy content. Now let's take a look at some of the best decks in the early Call of the Mountain metagame. One of the most dominant decks throughout the Rising Tides format, Swain Twisted Fate finds itself being one of the strongest strategies at the start of this new metagame. Swain TF's strength in the format is due to a few factors. For one thing, the archetype had already established itself as a top contender in the Rising Tides metagame, paving the way for early success in an unrefined format. Swain TF has an abundance of solid removal and strong units that help it stall the board. The deck can take either a control or aggressive role when playing a game, depending on how the deck needs to play in the given matchup. When taking a slower role in the game, Swain TF has the Swain Leviathan combo, which will threaten to lock opponents out of the game if they are not prepared to break the combo up quickly. Sejuani Gangplank is a deck that started gaining traction near the end of the Rising Tides metagame. The archetype not only has aggressive curves that can quickly put the opponent under significant pressure, but it also excels at quickly leveling up its champions. The archetype itself relies on its champions as game enders, but does also play Riptide Rex. Rex is crucial not only for recovering a lost board, but it also excels at pushing face damage to end the game. Thanks to an abundance of damage-dealing effects such as warning shots, Parley, Make It Rain, and Powder Monkeys, the deck is able to consistently level its champions up, often on curve. Once leveled up, both Sejuani and Gangplank have lethal effects. Gangplank will push incredible damage while making blocking difficult. Sejuani, on the other hand, will frostbite down the entire enemy board, making it near impossible for the opposing player to set up good attacks or blocks. A new archetype created with Call of the Mountain, Aurelion Soul Allegiance is a build that goes deep into Targon so that it may take advantage of Celestial cards and Mountain Scryer. Since the main appeal to Targon Allegiance is the branching game plans created by Celestial cards, oftentimes we see this deck playing a variety of champions. Most often it plays Aurelion Soul, Leona, or Diana, but it does not inherently need these champions to function. The secondary color for Targon Allegiance is also contested by a handful of regions to suit the player's needs. Our featured list today is a Leona Aurelion Soul variant that looks to Demacia for single combat and Radiant Guardian. It aims to stall out the early game with its bulky Daybreak units, buying the Targon player time to get their Celestial cards online and Aurelion Soul into play. A brand new aggro deck coming to the format, Nightfall Aggro goes all in on the Nightfall mechanic, maxing out on it to take full advantage of Diana and Nocturne. The deck is able to assemble powerful turns where Nocturne can gimp the attack of enemy blockers, then give the squad fearsome, letting them chunk away at the enemy. This deck excels at forcing through damage, with many of its units having some type of combat-relevant keyword, such as Elusive or Overwhelm. Unlike Shadow Isles decks of the past, this build also gains access to Reach in Doom Beast and Unspeakable Horror. Stalking Shadows and Lunari Priestess allow the deck to keep its hand filled with gas going into the late game, and in some spots can draw you into game-ending cards. Examples of this would be generating multiple Doom Beast off of Stalking Shadows to burn an opponent out. Nightfall seems to be one of the premier aggro decks moving into the start of the new expansion, and may only get better as more Targon cards come out throughout the year. Originally a burn deck that saw fringe play during Runeterra's beta, Jinx Draven Discard Aggro comes back with a boom thanks to the addition of Poro Cannon. Discard Aggro is built to dump its hand with cards such as Zaunite Urchin and Rummage, while incrementally gaining tempo off of Jury Rig, Flame Chompers, and Visions. Draven can generate multiple spinning axes, which are excellent for activating discard synergies, pushing damage, or simply being tossed for value. Jinx is the most valuable unit in the deck. Once leveled up, she will draw an extra card each turn and Super Mega Death Rockets. Jinx will win the game if she is allowed to stick around, and as such must be played with caution, otherwise she will not activate and you may struggle to end the game. To top off the deck's curve, you also have Augmented Experimenter, which is not only great for controlling the board, but will dump your hand, then draw 3 new cards. This will trigger Jinx, as well as draw you into more gas such as Rummage, Jinx, Burn burn, and more augmented experimenters. Lulu Shen is another deck created by Call of the Mountain and plays much like mid-range Bannerman without the Bannerman. This deck can start the game with powerful curves, such as Flower Child into War Chefs, then continue the pressure up the curve. Young Witch makes the deck's challenger units even stronger, letting them freely trade into most early game units. Lulu herself acts as a bigger Young Witch, buffing her supported ally up to a 4/4 or 5/5 when leveled up. This can be used to heal up damaged allies such as Shen, Screeching Dragon, Genevieve, or Cythria. This deck aims to establish a board, then snowball its board position with support effects and challenger units. Call of the Mountain has certainly made waves in the metagame, but it is undeniable that archetypes of previous patches are still alive and well. The addition of Targon has introduced a variety of new decks to the meta, and the format has only just begun to get explored. What decks have you been playing in Call of the Mountain? What do you think about Targon? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, then please subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to stay up to date with more Tempo strategy content.